Hello, everybody. This is the problem that we left off on Friday. We want to build a rectangular porch, and we know that the dimensions of that porch will be 14 by 16. So automatically I'm drawing a picture. The black rectangle is that porch. And we know we want a border around the porch of equal width, equal distance all the way around the porch. And what I know about this border, if I were to fill in the border, I only have 75 square feet of stuff to fill it in with. So that's enough information to find how wide this border has to be. And getting the very first step is the most difficult one. First of all, we know the porch is a rectangle, so I can find the area just by multiplying 26 and 14. So the area of this rectangle, this porch, is 364 square feet. Now, if I add to that the border, then I've got 364 plus 75, which is 439. That's 439 square feet. That's the area of the entire thing. Everything inside the big green rectangle, because it includes the black rectangle plus the border. Well, how can I express that in terms of x? I know that it all equals 439 square feet, but again, this green is a rectangle. So what is the green rectangle's length and the green rectangle's width? Well, the length, it must be more than 26, right? Because this is only 26. Well, it's 26 plus 2x. It's 2x is more than 26, because to get this distance, you would have to add an x on this left side and then add an x on this right side, this width. So it's 26 plus 2x long. And then for the same reasoning, this is 14 plus 2x long. And you multiply those two dimensions and you would get the area. The total area is 439. So we did all this on Friday and we got right here and we ran out of time. So we want to solve for x. And since it's a quadratic that equals 0, you would do quadratic formula. The opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. And I do all this in my calculator. 7,056 minus 4 times negative 75. I get this. Take the square root of my calculator. I get about 90.86. And now I split it up into two different values. Negative 84 plus 90.86. That equals 6.86. So 6.86 would be in the numerator. And then you divide by 8. So that becomes 0.858. The other one is negative 84 minus 90.86, and that's negative 174. You divide that by 8, and you get negative 21. Well, remember what x is representing here? X is representing the width of my porch, the border of my porch. And how could the border be negative 21 feet? So that's an extraneous solution. So the decorative border of my porch is 0.858 feet wide. And you write that as a sentence, and all the math above it supports this one sentence right here. So again, if you make this width 0.858 feet and wrap it around this porch, so everywhere around this porch, it's only 0.85 feet away to the edge of that border, you will have precisely 75 square feet. And you have 75 square feet of material to fill in that border. Last slide. This is important. This is the last kind of application problem that's really new to us. And this brings us back to our last test. This could have very easily been a test question. Write an equation for both of these parabolas. So, well, I see that this parabola, I know both of the zeros. And any polynomial will be a times each factor. So a times a factor, times a factor, times a factor, however many factors there are. Well, there are only two zeros here, so I've got two factors. It's x minus negative 11, so that's x plus 11, and then x minus 11, 11.18 to be specific. But then how do you find a? Notice you've got three things that we don't know. We don't know y, we don't know a, we don't know x. X and y are always they're going to be there in my final answer. Here's the final answer. X and y are still there. But how do I get this a value? Notice these factors are still there. How do I get the a value? We get our help from this ordered pair. This is one specific ordered pair. So I temporarily let x equal negative 7.18. So replace x with the number and y with 14.69. And then I solve for a. So negative 7 plus 11 gives me 4. Negative 7 minus 11 gives me negative 18. I multiply these two. That gets me negative 73. I want to solve for a. So a is being multiplied by negative 73. So I divide. And that's how I get negative 0.2. What about this one? You should pause the video and do this on your own. So here our final answer is this. We've got an a value times a factor times a factor. So how do I start? I know I have two zeros. Well, if I know the zeros, I know the factors. And the polynomial can be written as a times a factor times a factor. So a times x minus 0, which represents this 0, and x minus 22.36, which represents this 0. Well, x minus 0 is just x, so I clean that up a little bit. Now, how do I find a? You use this ordered pair, 4 comma 14.69. So you replace x with 4, and you replace y with 14.69. You multiply, or I can subtract these two. 4 minus 22 is negative 18. And if I multiply these two, it actually gives me the same a value as this one.